It's one game they don't play.
Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Zevachim Daf in Zayin. We're starting up in Vovim with base. A few lines below the Mishnah, second wide line. The Gemara says like this: Omar of Yudo Marav Chatos Sheshachto L'Shem Oilo Psula. You shecht Chatos for the purpose of Oilo. It's Shelo Lishmat Pasuk. L'Shem Chulin Kshevo. If you did L'Shem Chulin, it's kosher. We saw at the beginning of the Masechta. If you remember, the Gemara there had a discussion, a hard sugin of Gimel. The mino machibro, the sheina mino hena machibro. Only the one same type can ruin it, not something else. So only kosher can ruin it, not chulin. All of those of my time in the Rav, v'lo yichalu is kosher b'nei Yisrael. It says, so he says it's a pasuk. It's not just a rule. V'lo yichalu is kosher b'nei Yisrael. What is it going to tell you? Kotshim michalim kotshim. V'lo yichalu is kotshim. The kotshim were doing it. So only kotshim are the issue. So the pasuk teaches you the chulin. If someone does kosher with the mindset of chulin, it doesn't ruin the kosher.
So it's still a kosher.
Yeah, doesn't ruin it. Mesiv Rabo.
What does that mean? He has in mind, but he doesn't have in mind for the proper sheep.
Yeah, he doesn't have in mind for the korban, but he's not there. Doesn't have in mind for different korban. He has in mind only for chulin.
So what does that mean? There's a kapara on that?
Yeah. It works as kapara as if nothing changed in the carpet. Nothing happened. Basi Rabo Omar Basi Amisheloya Belibu Shemechadu Kolelu Kosher Shutnai Basi. What did Mishnah say? Mishnah says even if he has no das at all, it's still kosher. That's what Basi said. Stom Lishma, that's what the Gemara said of Gimel. If I have nothing, I have the mind is blank. It's still okay.
Well, at the beginning, he had it.
Yeah, no, the Chatchila should have it, but if he didn't have it, it's also okay. What did he say? He had nothing. It was blank. Time Shalai Belibu Klau. Hayabelibu L'Shem Chulin Pasul. Master, if he had in mind for Chulin, it's possible. Oh, something like this. If his mind is blank, then it's kosher. It's a full carbon. That's totally shmo. But if he had in mind for chulin, although it's kosher, it's not miratze. And this goes back to the doctor who said before. He had in mind, he's doing the kosher, he has in mind chulin. Doesn't work for the owner. The owner still needs to bring another carpet. But it is kosher. Ain't a miratze, but it's kosher. So it's going to be like any other kosher they do shol lishma. What's in every kosher they do shol lishma? Kasher shelo by the except chatos pesach. Here, even by chatos, if you had in mind for chulin, it's kosher. It's a korban kosher, but the owner still owes a korban.
So you can eat from that korban.
Yeah, the Quran can give you a korban. All blows of chatos sheshachto l'shem chulin ksheru. If he's shechted l'shem chulin, meaning he's shechting it, and he's saying I'm doing it in the mindset to do chulin, it's not to say before it's kosher. Mishum chulin, what is it mishum chulin? He thinks it's chulin. Not that he's taking kotshim and he has in mind to change its essence. But he thinks, he took an animal, he thought it was his animal from the pit. That's psula. Why? Because that's called misasek. He doesn't know what he's doing. I know misasek is pasul. Shenema v'shochat ben aboker v'nashemet shchito l'shem ben boker. Shochat is ben aboker. He needs to know what he's doing. Omelo yizu b'yadenu. I know that. But la'akev minayin. How do you know that's akev? That if he did it, it ruins the korban. Not only v'chatchila. Omelo l'tzoychem tizbechu l'daischem sifu. You have to have das. So that misasek doesn't work by kosher. Now what does misasek mean? Rashi brings over here. If you look at the first Rashi in the Home, Rashi says, Sheikhet kotshim v'loy b'chavana el kimisasek b'dvorim acher. He's doing shchita, but it doesn't have kavanah. He's misasek b'dvorim acher. So Tosis understands that he's not intending to do any shchita. He's he's moving things around and proofs. It went into it was shechted down. Tosis has a problem with that because that even in chulin should be an issue, right? For example, he brings an example. Someone takes a knife and he's throwing darts on the wall. You take a knife and does shoop, and it goes through the neck of the animal and does shchita. Is that shchita ksheira? No. You have to have kavanah shchita. So that should not work at all. So says Taisus, he's talking about he was planning to cut the simoni. He's cutting the simoni, that's the plan. But he's not planning to do shchita. Yeah, obviously, when you cut the simoni of the animal, it dies. And, it's like the segregation almost. But he doesn't have a plan to do a ma'aseh shchita. That's a misaseh okay.
He's doing, but not the same shchita.
Yeah. It's cutting. It's like just doing a cut. But not that he's doing something else and he something's being cut. He's planning to cut.
That sounds like more like a huh?
Yeah. It's a little less, it's a very limited misaseh. Says the Gemara, so the Mishnah said the only one who can place the carbon is only the Kohanim. I want to just add one thing I saw today is that as Machlokes that we show you how to learn the Mishnah. The way we learn, the way Rashi says, is the Mishnah says the Shem Shisha Dvarim Nizbach. You have 6 things you have to have kavanah for. And then we have another thing at the end, and it says, by the way, and then Rabbi Yossi says you don't have to have the kavanah. You don't do the kavanah.
No kavanah.
No kavanah is good enough. And then there's another thing, by the way, the only one who can ruin a carbon is the kohen. Some Rishonim learn that that's part of Rabbi Yossi's sentence. Rabbi Yossi says, kavanah is not a problem because the only one who can do kavanah is the oived. It's only the kohen. And the kohen is stomach lishma. It's the reason to explain why we don't have to have kavanah. I don't have to have kavanah because the one who can do kavanah is only the one who's actually doing the avoid and base mikdash. So we're saying that stomach is lishma. But if they're not. So says the Gemara, I heard that the owner could do pickle as well. Not only the kohen, but the owner could do it. What's the reasoning? The
owner is not doing the shchita.
No. I mean, we talk about Zrika and all these other things as well. He can't even do it if he wants to. So he says here that even the owner could always have it. Rashi says, "Bavoid is a kohen." If they had b'chshov, bavoid is a kohen. So it says over there, "Hikir Maki," and we're talking about that the owner, the Torah titles him as Makiv. So that's why he has a din Makiv lo yichoshev, which is the lashon pigul. So that's what they say. Especially with not only the kohen could do pigul, but the Baal could do shchita as well. So he says like this: They all agree that one can do a machshava, and someone else does the avodah, and it still works. Not like our Mishnah that says that the machshava can be done only by the oived, only one is doing it. What is it? What is basically what we just said? He said the pickle can be done by the owner. Someone who shechts, and he has a mindset for a goy, shchitas l'ksheru. Why is it blows a paisel? Because the goy has in mind for the zara. So the machshava of the goy for the zara is paisel the animal that the soul is doing. So his machshava, even though he's not doing the actual shchita. This is a din in Yechezkel Shabbos. Kol shein kosher latzniya. Something which is not kosher latzniya, meaning it's something that is either asur ba'ana or it's damnida. Or another case, something that usually people don't put aside. But one guy decided, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to be a collector. So Reuven puts it aside. Shimon takes it out now. So then, Shimon is chayav in Yechezkel Shabbos because Reuven is the one who made it designated to be Davar Chashuv. So even though the one who's doing the avodah here means that the melacha is Shimon, but Reuven's mindset makes his Davar Chashuv.
What did he put away?
Let's say he put this cup. The cup is not Davar Chashuv, and usually if you take it out in Shabbos, it's not chayav. In Yechezkel Shabbos, everything has a shear, a minimum shear to be chayav. So let's say, I don't remember the exact, let's say apples, you need to have, 5 apples. This guy put 1 apple aside, really likes apple, he puts it aside. He gives the chashivas. He shows, for me, 1 apple is chashuv. He takes it out, he's chayav. Not only if he takes it out, but if his friend takes out that apple he put aside, he's chayav. Similar to value Islu the Ablazer Rabbi Yossi. Everybody agrees. I mean, the other two shittas agree with those of Rabbi Yossi legabe pigul. Even in the outset, meaning by Shabbos and for the Zara, you say the machshava can work. Skosh can be hegdish, but machshava is much more effective. Because the bifnim that says machshava. Rav Elazar Shimon lays to Tavai. Rav Elazar Shimon disagrees with the other two. They bifnim would mean b'chutz amin. Maybe only in avodas bifnim in hegdish I say the machshava can affect, not outside. Shimon Lazar Islay the Abelezer. Shimon Lazar regarding Shabbos agrees with Abelezer regarding Avodah Zarah. How to be Shabbos aminan? If by Shabbos you say it, so Avodah Zarah should be the same. Lazar said that Shimon Lazar Abelezer Gabi Avodah Zarah disagrees with Shabbos. Till when was Kachobi with Abinin came bifrim. Avodah Zarah I have a day to be like bifrim because all the avodas we saw in Avodah Zarah, all the avodas that we have by Avodah Zarah you learn from Karbonis. Shabbos, Shabbos is so tight. Shabbos is Shabbos. I would say that Shabbos needs to be that you're Kol Shiva, not somebody else. So that's why not necessarily they all agree with each other, but it's a similar shita that the machshava of one affects the ma'isa of the other. And with this we end. This fourth parak of Zevachim was a very big avoid in this parak. It's a hard parak. Hadak b'shaman b'shar be'ezer Hashem. Zog the Mishnah. Perik Ezu Mikaymo. Ezu Mikaymo is a very special parak. Very, very special parak. First of all, it's a special parak. Why? Because we say it, I would say, we say it. We're supposed to say it. It's printed on the Siddurim. The Siddurim have the Ezu Mikaymo. It's brought down to be B'Seisif. I try to say it on Shabbos. Shabbos, I try to say it.
6:10 meaning we say it every morning, 6:10.
Yeah, I know. So, the B'Seisif brings the Ezer Mekayim Shazvachim is very special because it's all with no machlekes. Brings the name of the real. There's no machlekes. It's all coming misidai. The problem is that there is a few things in this parak that is not agreed to by everyone. To the extent that some of the Rambam is a pasuk halacha. So very hard to understand what the real says. There's no machlekes. But the Ritva in Masechus of the Zohar says it, and he says it a little small nuance that makes a difference. He says it was written with no machlekes. If you open the entire Ezer Mekayim, we know it, like you said, it's every morning. There's no machlekes. Ezer Mekayim Shazvachim goes in one shot with no deviation. So yes, there's some Mishnayos that a few Mandorim disagree with what the Mishnah says. From Akiva argues, we'll see. But the Mishnah itself doesn't bring a machlekes, and the mere fact is the Ritva. It doesn't have machlekes in the Mishnah, it's already davar gadol. Because it shows the sherish of Torah, even though it is totally machlekes. Now,
that's the case you try to say it.
What?
That's the case you should try to say it.
Oh, it is. There's a big Indian to say. Big Kabbalah also is a big Inyanim, Be'ezim Mekayman. But this Indian, there's no machlekes, says, that's the thing. To the extent, it's brought down in a few places, Reuben Margolius brings it as well, is that it says in the Lashon, it says in the Mishnah, is chutz kloim. Kloim, what's kloim talking about? Where do we use kloim? Kloim is in the Mishkan. Yes. So I want to say this Mishnah was written in the time of the Mishkan doing the Midbar. It's coming from there. Meaning it's already using the Lashonis that you had very early. The question where exactly? Maybe it's Mishkan Shiloi. Not so clear, maybe not so early, but it's an earlier version. It's before.
Shiloh, they didn't have curtains, they had a set firm wall.
You're right. And firm walls and a question of Kloy refers to that or not. Okay, maybe that's in between. There was what the debate, I didn't go into it enough, but that's the part of the Indian. That's the special concept of Ezu Mekayman that we're going to learn now. So the Mishnah. Ezu Mekayman Shazvachim. Where's the Makosh Zevachim? Kodesh Kadashim, Shchita Sobatzofan. Kodesh Kadashim, the Shchita is in the north of Beis Hamikdash, meaning towards, when you go in, towards the right side.
North of the Mizbech.
It depends where the Mizbech is, but yes. Yes. Par V'Seir Shom Kippurim, now the Mishnah is going to go down in details. Par V'Seir Shom Kippurim, the par is par, and Seir. That you have in Yom Kippur, Shechita Sobatzofan, you do Shechita Batzofan. The kibul damon b'klisharis b'tzafon. You have to accept the blood with what? With the klisharis in the tzafon as well. Says Taisus, why doesn't it say shchita b'klisharis b'tzafon? Shchita b'tzafon, the kabbalah b'klisharis b'tzafon. Why not say shchita b'klisharis b'tzafon? The chorus comes from here that shchita can be done without a klisharis. You could do a shchita with any knife. That's what the Chor wants to bring a raya. Says Taisus, no. He brings different back and forth. He says, no, you have to be klisharis. But says Taisus in the end, the reason is because the shchita doesn't have to be done but tzafon, meaning the shchita, the animal has to be done but tzafon, but the sheikh can be in the darim with a long knife. That's what it doesn't say klisharis but tzafon, because I don't want to say the word tzafon over here. That's why it omitted these words, even though you do have to have a sakin to have a knife of klisharis.
Klisharis has to be designated.
Yeah, klisharis means a clear base of English. Yeah.
Didn't we have a machlokas just now in the last paragraph about whether there's one man that says, yeah, you don't have to be in the sub, you just have a long knife, and then there was another guy that said, no, you have to be on the inside. You have to be on the inside of the animal. There was
no. So the Gemara, if the Gemara brought, there was a hava mina. The Gemara to say kol sheken. It was all the kol shekens. If this you have, so he said no, and we brought the sukkah to tell you don't have to be a korban mitzvah or l'sheikh mitzvah.
There was an actual pasuk that said about
Yeah, there was a pasuk. In other words, the first one that wanted to bring a savara, he said no, it's a pasuk. Okay, v'daman ton azoya ben abadim, the korban Yom Kippur. You have to do azoya. You have to sprinkle the blood between the body, which means in the Kodesh Kadashim. Ve'ala pariches, and then you go out. You do it on the pariches. V'hamizbach hazav is the third stage of Yom Kippur. Matana achas be'em ma'akeves. If you're missing one of the matanas, every matana you need to do. Matana is the Zvika. Why it says matana? That's a discussion here as well. Where do you do the shirayim that we saw as well? He goes back outside and puts it on the yisoid of mizbeach hachitzon. V'im lo yinosan lo yikiv. Here we already see a machlokes, because we learned in previous parak that it's a machlokes if chatoris apnimiyos is shirayim me'akev or not me'akev. That's what the Gemara brought. How many hazos do I have Yom Kippur? We brought a few brises. Is it 43? Is it 47? Is it 48? Mine is 47, 48. Shirayim. So Shirayim is me'akev. So that's what we write in Machlekes, but all Mishnah holds is no. Parim and Yisrafim, Mesirim and Yisrafim, these are the, again, Chatois Premiers. Shiddah Savat Safin, you do in the north. The Kibul Dom and B'Klishavat Safin, you receive it with Klisharas in the north. Fidam and Tov and Azoy, where you sprinkle, Parichas, you don't go into Kodesh Kadosh, that's only Yom Kippur. Vam Mizbach Azov, and you do it on Mizbach Azov. You have Zayin with base. Matona Achaz Me'em Me'akeves. One Matona, you have to do all the Matonas you can't skip. Shira Adam Ayashayf, Yechezoy, Ma'arov Yishbech. The Shirayim you do outside on the Yisoid. If you didn't do it as a Ma'akev, where do you burn the Korbanos of Yom Kippur and the Purim and Yisrafim? Outside of the Beis Hamikdash, there's a place called Beis Hadeshen.
Specifically the Basar.
Yeah.
Not the Imur.
Not the Imur, you're going to the Mizbech. And you put that on the Desh, because the Desh, it's important to know, we mentioned some of it in the previous daf, is that you have the Desh and you have the coal on the Mizbech. They do Truma Sadeshin. You do a Truma, you do one shovel out of that, then you put it next to the Mizbech, and that's swallowed in its place beneath. And the rest of the coal, you have to take out outside Beis Hamikdash in Makom Shecher and Deshin.
You have to take the rest of the coal, which is on the Mizbech. The one that's put down next to the Mizbech is swallowed.
Stays there, right? Says the Gemara, V'nitnin Nami v'kibul domon b'klisharis.
I'm sorry. Is the ore burnt also?
I don't remember.
The R gets remembered. The R doesn't go to the Kohen, that's not.
Okay, Chotes Primus, I don't remember. I don't know. Good question. Meaning, the first line of the Mishnah was Ezu Kosh Zevachim, Kosh Kadosh Shchitos Vatzafon. Then we start going to the details. So we say a rule. Oh, you should know all Shchitas in the north in Kosh Kadosh. And then we go. Yom Kippur. Why don't we say also the Kabbalah has to be Vatzafon? Why don't we say that as well? That's also all Kabbalah have to have Kabbalah Vatzafon. Says the Gemara, Kevan Dika Osho Mitzoyo, the Kibul Domoy Biyadu. By Mitzoyo, there's a Kabbalah that's done not with Klishos. It's done with the hand. Shire. Says the Gemara, we're talking about Baktani Lekamon. You learn later. Osho Nazir, Osho Mitzoyo, Shchitosam, that's all part of the Ezra Koyman. Shchitosam Mitzovon, Kibul Domoy Klishos Mitzovon. It says Klishos. So your answer doesn't start. So Mikara Sova Kibul Domoy Biyadu Shire. So here the Loshen Mikara Sova is not so Meduik. Mikara Sova, in the beginning he thought, in the beginning he gave the rules. By Mitzoyo there's Kabbalah, which is not Beklishos. And that's what we shine. Came on the Sagale El Bekli, but the mice you do need a Kli. For some of it, Hadetanya. In other words, it's not fully with a Kli. That's why I didn't mention in the rule. When you go into the details, there is a Kli over there. The time the Brisa says, Velokach Yechol Bekli, says it takes it. Can it be with a Kli takes it? Tomun Loimar Venosan. We're talking about here putting the oil on the blood on the Mitzoyo. On the Mitzoyo, on the thumb of the Mitzoyo. So it says, the Pasuk says, it says the Nosan HaKoyin, the Kohen has to put it on his ear. So man is seen by the Kohen himself puts it on his ear. It's the same Pasuk. The Nosan has to do with his hand. Could it be the blood that goes in the Mizbeach? Because by Mitzoyo, some of the blood goes in the Mitzoyo, and some goes in the Mizbeach. You're comparing chotos osham, machatos to una kli, af osham to un kli. The same way chatos has kli as always, so also with the osham you have to have kli. Rashi says, there's a discussion over how do you know the chatos needs a kli. Rashi brings over here, says you learn lekicha, and ba'oilo it says, and the Tosis has a discussion, can you learn from there what's exactly the makar that you do b'kli? So he says, and then he says, it says that two or Koyanim go and receive the blood. One receives with the hand, or receives with the kli. One has the kli, goes to his back, his spin goes on his back. He goes to the Mitzoyo and puts it on him. So there's two stage or two levels or two parts of the Kabbalah. One part goes on the Mizbeach, one part goes on the Mitzoyo. One is Bekli, one is Bayad. And Mimeile, that's why our Mishnah didn't say the rule it's always Bekli, because something is Bayad. Bayad means you receive with the blood.
Just put your hand out.
Puts the hand out.
And with that you're dabbing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the difference over there. Just one last thing with this will end. If you look at the Rashi in the Mishnah, Rashi says, how do you know that? So Rashi says at the end of the Rashi brings, we learn it because part of Misrafim says the Sheva Kadeshin. You Kippur Ikisha the Parahel Dover. You Kippur and Parahel Dover have a Hekish. Kedamrin and Pegu Shama the Parazim Kippur. So Tostez points out over there that it's a Hekish bin Hekish. Because where it says that you put the Deshin outside is part of Misrafim. Part of Misrafim you learn to Parahel Dover. Parallel double, you learn the Parallel Kippurim. So it's Hakish to Hakish you don't do. So that's the long taste over here. To come and explain how exactly you learn from there, and why it's not a problem. Hakish but Hakish, but we'll leave that basic and we'll get to later in the parak regarding which learnings, which limudim can you do one from each other. Said Gomor, stop over here. We should have a wonderful Shabbos. Shabbos daf is most probably at 4:35 p.m.